So welcome back to Austin, Texas. I'm Nick Harris. Singing alongside me, Matt Burt. Down in pit lane, Dylan Gray.
Front row of the grid, Marquez, Dovizioso, Lorenzo. Row 2 headed by Valentino Rossi and the two British riders, Cal Crutchlow and Scott Redding in 5th and 6th.
Third row of the grid, Andrea Iannone, Alicia Spargo and his younger brother Paul. Fourth row, Bradley Smith, Danilo Petrucci and Maverick Vinales.
Row 5 headed by Hector Barbara, Stefan Bradl 14th, and it's Johnny Hernandez, Mike DeMeglio, Eugene Laverty and Hiroshi Ayama in for Danny Pedrosa on row 6.
Row 7, Jack Miller, Loris Baz and Carol Abraham. Row 8, Nicky Hayden on his 200th Grand Prix appearance. Alvaro Bautista, Alex DeAngelis on his 200th Grand Prix appearance. And completing the grid, former 250cc world champion, Marco Melandri.
Warm-up lap about to start here in Austin, Texas. Just a quick reminder of those tight choices. 6 of the riders are on that harder option front Bridgestone tyre. Rossi, Redding, Marquez, they're in your pictures right now. Crutchlow, Hernandez and Vinales, they've all gone for the harder option.
Upward to turn 1. That is going to be such a crucial bend in this race at the start. Right. This is where the water was under the bridge. We're getting there any moment now. Bridge coming up, there it is. The riders look quite happy going through there. That's what has delayed the start for 37 minutes.
Jorge Lorenzo, it's the one who leads the way on this warm-up lap. Valentino Rossi, as we said earlier, chasing a first win in America since Indianapolis way back in 2008. As we ride on board with Nicky Hayden. Valentino Rossi 254, Alex Barros 245 starts, Loris Capirossi 214 starts, and joining them in that exclusive club this weekend, Nicky Hayden at this race here on home soil in Austin, his 200th Grand Prix appearance.
And only 2 of those are MotoGP World Champions. Valentino Rossi, of course.
A proud achievement for Nicky Hayden, made even more special to be doing so in front of his home crowd here in Texas. As the riders now come through this tight infield section. This is the end of the back straight at turn 12.
Dylan, I don't think we probably need to ask you, but the weather looks okay.
Looks absolutely fine at the moment. The sun's not out everywhere, but we do have some blue sky. We have a few clouds about. Very nice temperature, mid-20s. I think ideal conditions to be going racing in.
You'll be putting your cowboy hat on next with the sound of that sort of weather.
Well, I'm already wearing it.
We ride with Valentino Rossi. We have a look at Marc Marquez. But we are about to find out.
25 riders coming to the grid for this 21-lap Red Bull Grand Prix of the Americas.
Marc Marquez has been on pole for the last 2 years. He's won the race. Alongside him on that front row, Andrea Dovizioso on that GP15 Ducati, completing the front row. Jorge Lorenzo for a double 250, double MotoGP and 125cc world champion. What a front row. Valentino Rossi, who won in Qatar, starts from the second row of the grid. This time we're ready to go. The red flag will be taken away any moment now. The Red Bull Grand Prix of the Americas is about to start.
Lorenzo got away cleanly this year. Marc Marquez got a good start with this. Lorenzo running up the inside. It looks like he's going to get the whole shot. Almost contact with Dovizioso. Dovizioso and Lorenzo, though, are going to lead into this first corner.
Yeah, Scott Redding made a good start. Got hung out a little bit to dry as he got up the inside. But it's Dovizioso that leads the way. Marquez in second place.
Lorenzo got a really good launch off the line. He's been pushed right the way back down to 6th place. He's just been overtaken now by Scott Redding. Redding runs off the track though at turn 4.
Almost comes in and clashes with Paul Espargaro. Scott Redding, bit of a ragged start for Redding. Good start from Rossi off from that second row of the grid. Another excellent start by Bradley Smith.
Took the words right out of my mouth. Nick Bradley Smith started from 10th on the grid. What a brilliant first few corners by the British rider as they peeled down. Lorenzo got a really good start, but he's back down in 5th place now.
They brake hard for turn.
Oh, Scott Redding has crashed at turn 11 and he's taken down Paul Espargaro as well.
Well, they clashed earlier on, didn't they? Paul Espargaro. Dovizioso leads, Marquez second, Rossi third, Smith 4, Lorenzo 5, are Scott Redding from the second row of the grid.
Cal Crutchlow didn't have a very good start either. The British rider started 5th on the grid. He's back down in 10th. That incident at turn 11 involving Scott Redding and Paul Espargaro, of course, great Moto2 rivals back in 2013. But it's still Andrea Dovizioso from Marquez Ducati GP15. Now back with Marquez. It's Dovizioso, the race leader, 18.
Knowing Valentino Rossi, he'll try and get past Marquez or unsettle him a little bit. It's a great start by Rossi, as you say, an amazing start by Bradley Smith. Can he run at this sort of pace with these guys? Well, we'll wait and see, but he's hanging in there at the moment as Dovizioso leads the way for Ducati.
Dovizioso across the line now. Marquez in second place. Rossi third. A fantastic first lap from Bradley Smith. He's running in 4th. Lorenzo, as we said, got a great launch off the line, but dropped back to 6th at one stage. He's now up to 5th. We've lost Scott Redding and Paul Espargaro on the first lap. Redding has actually rejoined the race as Smith puts pressure on Valentino Rossi. There is Paul Espargaro out of the race on the opening lap.
Well, they clashed earlier, hadn't they? Earlier in the lap. Let's have a look again.
Well, you can see Scott Redding there. He just got in way too hot and way too tight. Lost the front end. Unfortunately, Paul Espargaro, nowhere to go. Got collected in that crash. Redding has actually got back on and rejoined the race. That's some frustration there from Paul Espargaro. It's Andrea Dovizioso now through turn 10, still leading this race on lap 2. Marquez in second, Valentino Rossi third, Bradley Smith it's in 4th place, and Lorenzo making no impression at the moment, back in 5th.
We ride with Valentino Rossi. Marquez up the inside, and obviously has to come on the outside, up the start and finish straight. 40-metre altitude change as they come into turn 1.
Bradley Smith, 5th in the race here last year, one of his best results, and that second year on that monster Yamaha Tech 3 Yamaha. Dovizioso now peels through turn 12. Bradley Smith really pulling some pressure on Valentino Rossi. Lorenzo coming back. Lace Espargaro doing a really good job in 6th. It's Iannone in 7th. Crutchlow's made up a couple of places in 8th. Hernandez and Petrucci are in the top 10.
Well, Marquez hasn't gone away at the front, which some people feared he might. Dovizioso put in a really, really good pace on at the front. There is Andrea Dovizioso. Brilliant ride in Qatar into second place. Coming under a little bit of pressure from Valentino Rossi, Bradley Smith, Jorge Lorenzo. Lace Espargaro saying doing a really good job for Suzuki, but his brother Paul out after the collision with Scott Redding.
Dovizioso over the line to complete the second lap. Dovizioso, best lap of the race, 2:04.323. But Andrea Iannone down in 7th place is another fast rider. Ducati GP15 working exceptionally well in the early stages of the circuit of the Americas Grand Prix. Bradley Smith still there, right there behind Valentino Rossi in 4th as they dive through the second corner. Dovizioso, Marquez, Rossi, Smith.
Here is Dovizioso under the bridge that caused the problems. There was some water flowing across the track. The start had been delayed 37 minutes. Nobody's worried because it looks like being another absolute classic race here in the Texan sunshine.
Lace Espargaro and Andrea Iannone closing up a little bit on Jorge Lorenzo. As we said, Lorenzo got a real good launch off the line. He got squeezed out a little bit by Dovizioso, who held firm at the first corner in the braking zone to take the whole shot. Dovizioso's led the way from the off here, and he leads round halfway through this third lap.
Yeah, Redding made a good start as well, and he got hung out to dry a little bit, and I think then that really unsettled him, don't you? 2 incidents for him, and obviously he went down at the end. Down the fastest part of the circuit. They say race down towards turn 12 from flat out down into first gear. Dovizioso, Marquez, Rossi, and I tell you what, you'd have started to think perhaps Smith would start dropping back. Quite the opposite. He's all over the rear wheel of Valentino Rossi.
Lace Espargaro now coming under pressure from Andrea Iannone, who just set the best lap of the race. Cal Crutchlow trying to make up some ground. There is the LCR Honda rider just through the back of the screen there. This is that battle for 6th place between Lace Espargaro and Andrea Iannone. I think we're going to see some Ducati horsepower soon blitzed by that Suzuki, which we know is suffering a bit of a weakness in the power of the engine.
There are plenty of them up there because Petrucci's 9th and Hernandez is in 10th place.
Cal Crutchlow making inroads on this battle for 6 between Lace Espargaro and Andrea Iannone. It's going to be Dovizioso across the line to finish lap 3 in the lead.
Across the line they come. Rossi hanging on the rear wheel of Marquez. Not quite close enough, one would imagine. There is Smith, then Lorenzo, Iannone and Espargaro. Iannone coming in tighter, then drifting out a little bit wide as they plunge down towards turn 2.
The top 4 all lapping in the 2.04s. Jorge Lorenzo in the 2.05s. The only other rider outside of the top 4 in that 2.04 bracket at the moment is Andrea Iannone, as Valentino Rossi puts the pressure on Marc Marquez. This is the battle for second place.
We ride with Valentino Rossi. There he is. The new Valentino Marquez. Rossi closes it up. Smith waits to pounce just behind them.
Coming through turn 9 now. Cal Crutchlow, we've talked about it before, he is making progress. Stefan Bradl has just crashed out at number 6, the German, who was 4th in the race here last year. Bradl is out of the race. Dovizioso now through turn 11. Marquez, Rossi and Bradley Smith, the top 4. Jorge Lorenzo desperately trying to claw back the gap between the leading group.
On the back straight they come. My golly, that Ducati's really got some grunt, as we saw in Qatar.
Andrea Dovizioso gets that Ducati wound up into 6th gear. He stretches out a few bike lengths on that Honda. There is Cal Crutchlow on the LCR Honda, just coming through turn 12 now. Crutchlow is 4.4 seconds back of the lead of Andrea Dovizioso, trying to recover 1.5 seconds on Iannone, who's in 6th.
They close up, and Dovizioso, Marquez, Rossi really trying to put some pressure on Marquez. Smith, then a little bit of a gap back to Lorenzo. Rossi will take any opportunity that comes his way to get in front of Marc Marquez and then really get in there and in his face upset his rhythm a little bit.
Dovizioso leads through turn 19. Marquez, we ride on board with Rossi. This is now on the brakes into the final corner. Dovizioso, Marquez, Rossi. That's your top 3 at the end of lap 4.
Over the start and finish line they come as they race almost motocross style up towards turn 1. 17 laps to go. We had the delayed start, but this is worth waiting for.
Keep an eye on Andrea Iannone in 6th position. He took 6 off Aleix Espargaro on that last lap, and he's just set the best lap of the race, the Italian, a 2.04.251. He's putting pressure now on Jorge Lorenzo. It's Iannone, the big mover so far.
Closing up at the front. Marquez sandwiched between the Yamaha of Rossi and the Ducati of Dovizioso, and Smith seemingly quite comfortable hanging in there with them.
What a ride so far by Bradley Smith. As we said, he started from 10th on the grid. We see so many lightning starts from him last year when he repeated it earlier on this afternoon. Smith still running in 4th place. Lorenzo and Iannone lead the charge. Marquez on the brakes up the inside of Dovizioso at turn 11. Marquez leads.
Dovizioso tries to come back at him immediately. He's got to do that. He should win this particular battle on the back straight. Dovizioso back in front. Rossi wants to pounce. They brake hard now, coming down towards turn 12. And Marquez back in front.
Marquez back in front at turn 12 on the brakes. Marquez now leads again. Dovizioso, Rossi in 3rd. Bradley Smith doing a great job in 4th. But Marquez has hit the front on lap 5.
Now, can he pull away? That's the question, I think, don't you? The next couple of laps will tell us an awful lot. Can Rossi get past Dovizioso? But Dovizioso very capable of hanging on the rear wheel of Marquez.
Yeah, Valentino Rossi, he will not want Marc Marquez to get away. Rossi's mission now will be to get by Andrea Dovizioso as quickly as he can as they peel through turn 19 now. This is coming up to the final corner. Marquez, Dovizioso, Rossi and Bradley Smith.
So it's going to be Marquez that leads the way for the first time as they go over the start and finish line. 16 laps to go. Round 2 of the MotoGP World Championship.
Marquez in the braking zone for that uphill first corner. Bradley Smith still right on the back wheel of Valentino Rossi. We're on lap 6. Well, that's where Stefan Bradl went out earlier in the race. That is at the first corner. As we said, he got a good record here, and Bradl in the last 2 years, a 5th and a 4th place, but unfortunately he's out of this race at the moment on that Ford Yamaha. We pick up the leaders again. Marquez still from Dovizioso, Rossi and Smith.
They've got to hang on to him. It's absolutely crucial for the sake of this race, isn't it? As Marquez was trying and open up an advantage. And we can't speak highly enough about Bradley Smith. He's made starts like this before, but with a full fuel load, he's dropped back down, isn't he? It's not happening this time.
Now Marquez, Rossi now looking up the inside at turn 11, close, but he couldn't make it stick on Andrea Dovizioso. Now we're going to see some Ducati power. Dovizioso will try and get in the slipstream of Marquez as they power down that 1.2 kilometre straight.
Yeah, this is important. Can Dovizioso find that extra power? Can he use that extra power to his advantage? And Marquez is so good on the brakes there. There is Lorenzo now coming under real pressure from Andrea Iannone. That is your first 6.
The hammer is down from Marc Marquez. He went through the first 2 splits, 0.4 of a second up on Andrea Dovizioso. This is Marc Marquez trying to make the decisive break on lap 6.
Yeah, it's early to do that, but it's shown us before, and certainly here last year, he's very capable of doing that. And you just wonder, well, who has got the pace to stay with him? It's going to be tough. Rossi's straining every sinew to get past Dovizioso.
Yeah, Rossi had a look at turn 11, couldn't make the pass. Marquez now comes up to the final corner. Dovizioso still keeping Rossi at bay for 2nd position.
But do bear in mind, Rossi has that harder option front tyre. Dobby is on that medium, so he's certainly going to be looking to pass in those harder braking zones, something we saw very similar to what he did in Qatar going into the last lap.
15 laps to go. Here comes Iannone getting up the inside of Jorge Lorenzo and taking over 5th place.
Iannone underneath Jorge Lorenzo at the first corner, as Nick said, up into 5th, but Marc Marquez has stretched that lead now to over half a second at the earliest part of this at lap 7. Iannone, this is the battle for 5th. Jorge Lorenzo started from the front row, hasn't really happened as yet for the Spaniard, disappointing in 6th.
Marquez, Dovizioso, MotoGP, Valentino Rossi. You won't get many better shots than that, will you? That's what it's all about. Turn 9, and they come up over the rise.
Valentino Rossi, I was just about to say Scott Running has retired from the race as Rossi lunged up the inside of Dovizioso at turn 11. He ran wide, and now we're going to see that Ducati horsepower down the back straight. Rossi momentarily up into 2nd. He knows Marc Marquez is trying to make a break at the front of this race.
Yeah, as you say, ran it a little bit wide. It's getting a bit tighter back there as well, because Iannone's coming. He's bringing Lorenzo along. Smith is there, but he's going to come under some real pressure soon from Andrea Iannone. And you've got to say, at the moment, Marquez has got this race not under control, but very much in his hands.
Halfway round, lap 7, the advantage now Marquez has over Dovizioso is 1 second. Rossi can see Marquez disappearing up the road into the distance. He's got to get by Dovizioso if he's going to take the victory fight to Marc Marquez. Now is Rossi lining up a pass here at turn 19? Is he close enough?
He did line him up, I think, but he just was not close enough to do it. We ride with Rossi again. Will he try to turn 1? But the Ducati again has to go. Here comes Rossi.
Rossi at turn 20, but again he runs it slightly wide. Dovizioso bounces straight back and down this start-finish straight where it's all about horsepower. The Ducati will outrun Rossi's Yamaha.
Look out for Iannone, he's coming at a real pace. There's Dovizioso, Rossi, Smith under pressure from Iannone, Lorenzo, and Lacer Spargo and Cal Crutchlow.
That's one of the Pramac Ducatis that's had a crash at the final corner. The bike lying in the middle of the track, thankfully not on the racing line. It's Johnny Hernandez, the Colombian, that crashed out. He was having a good ride, was Hernandez, but that is at the final corner. Thankfully he's unhurt in that crash. Here is Hernandez now peeling into turn 15. Loses the front end and then has the rear gripped. Well, Maverick Vinales was almost caught up in that
He
instant.
was, and the bike was lying in the middle of the track for a bit as well. Another great shot, Rossi. Andrea Iannone has got past Bradley Smith. No, he hasn't.
But Rossi's taken 2nd place, that from Andrea Dovizioso. While we were looking at the replay of Johnny Hernandez, Rossi finally has made the move on Andrea Dovizioso, but in doing so, he trails Marc Marquez by 1.6 seconds. And now we're going to see that horsepower of the Ducati GP15. Is Dovizioso going to take the place back? Oh, they were so close to contact there. That was really close. Dovizioso did an amazing job of avoiding hitting the back of Rossi.
I tell you what, Rossi wasn't going to let him through. Rossi knew that he was coming and he was not going to let him through. And very close to a collision. Bradley Smith still hanging in there, but he's got Iannone right on his tail.
This great dogfight for second place. All it's doing is playing into the hands of Marc Marquez, the reigning world champion. Stretches his advantage now to 1.9 seconds with Rossi, Dovizioso, Smith and Iannone all scrapping for second place. It's giving Marquez crucial time to make the break as Iannone now moves into fourth place by Bradley Smith at the penultimate corner on lap 8.
Yeah, Iannone really is charging his way through. Rossi in the second place. I think the next couple of laps will tell us if he can make any sort of impression on Marquez. He's got a bit of clear track in front of him, but it's not going to be easy. Here's Rossi, Dovizioso, his teammate Iannone, Bradley Smith and Jorge Lorenzo.
Rossi knows that if he hasn't got a bit of clear track between himself and Dovizioso and Iannone on that long back straight, that Ducati horsepower is going to be so crucial.
Well, he really shut the door on him, didn't he? He was over braking hard for that, I would think, Dovizioso. If he thought there was going to be any problems, he knew they were there. Here's the replay. This is Rossi getting by. But this is the moment. Here comes Dovizioso.
Oh, how did they not touch? A whisker away from touching the rear wheel of Valentino Rossi's Yamaha. Dovizioso actually did a great job of pulling that Ducati up on the brakes. But as you say, Nick, Valentino Rossi, he can see Andrea Dovizioso right outside of his left-hand side. He wasn't giving up that space at all.
No way. Marquez, Rossi, Dovizioso, Iannone, Smith and Lorenzo further back. Alessia Spargaro, Cal Crutchlow, Danilo Petrucci, Maverick Vinales, Hiroshi Oyama, Hector Barber, Jack Miller in the points in 13th place, Eugene Lafferty and Nicky Hayden.
Jorge Lorenzo finally making some headway towards this battle for second place. Lorenzo half a second quicker on the last lap than Bradley Smith, who is in front of him. They'll be right now on board with the race leader, Marc Marquez. 1.9 seconds clear, actually through the first two splits now. Marquez's lead for the first time in this race, over 2 seconds.
Yeah, and his board was telling him that, wasn't it? Here is Rossi, Dovizioso. I think Dovizioso in turn will come under pressure from his teammate Iannone. Smith will come under pressure from Lorenzo. And Alessia Spargaro and Crutchlow surely will fight it out, as they are at the moment for 7th place.
Marquez crosses the line to complete lap 9. Rossi's second, the gap 2.249 seconds. Then it's the two factory Ducatis, Andrea Dovizioso and Andrea Iannone, followed by Bradley Smith and Jorge Lorenzo as you ride with Rossi through the first corner. Confirmation there, he's got that hard front tyre option, but so has Marc Marquez.
We ride with Rossi. Of course, he would retain his lead in the World Championship. He finished second, and you get the feeling just looking at that picture, that will be his aim. I think he's not going to win this one unless there's problem for Marc Marquez, and he's got a couple of Ducatis giving him a tough old time.
Get Marc Marquez has started to streak away in this race. The gap now well over 2 seconds in front of Valentino Rossi. This does look like the battle between the three Italians, Rossi, Dovizioso and Iannone, like a battle for second place.
The two Yamahas, it's the satellite Yamaha of Bradley Smith, followed by the factory Yamaha of Jorge Lorenzo. Now I'm sure Rossi will now concentrate on securing second place and 20 points. He's already shown Dovizioso how determined he is to do that.
Get Valentino Rossi, as you can see there on this long back straight, finally pulling a bit of a gap on Andrea Dovizioso. It's Iannone in fourth. He's chasing his second successive podium, of course. Debut MotoGP podium in Qatar last time out. Bradley Smith still holding Jorge Lorenzo at bay.
Marquez getting away at the front. Masterful display so far in this race. Don't forget, there's still 11.5 laps to go. Still a long, long way to go. Things do happen. Smith just about holding off Lorenzo. Alessia Spargaro just about holding off Crutchlow. What a disappointing start for Cal Crutchlow after he looked so fast in practice and qualifying.
Get this, the battle for 7th place out on track. As you say, Nick, Cal Crutchlow so strong all throughout the weekend. Second place he was in practice, qualifying on the second row in 5th. He obviously got caught up in a bit of that tight first corner on the opening lap because he dropped all the way back to 10th, didn't he? And he's found it difficult to come back through the field. We'll see if he can make a move on Alessia Spargaro at the end of this home straight now. Bradley Smith coming under real pressure from Lorenzo.
Bradley Smith fights back, but Lorenzo comes through. Smith now down in 6th place, and you get the feeling that Bradley Smith, that would be a superb position for him after really battling with the factory machines in the early stages.
Yeah, it would be mission